You're listening to the Racing Virginia podcast. Now, here are your hosts.
I'm Dave C.
And I am Brandon Brown. Still not a NASCAR driver. Still not that Brandon Brown.
Folks, we got a great
Getting
show
closer
for you. We got a great show, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Let's tell them right off the bat before we start talking about Martinsville.
Oh, okay.
We have the co-inventor and co-founder and owner of Draft Top, along with the co-owner partner. Mm-hmm. We're going to have Sean Kelly and Patrick Parizo on the show to talk about Draft Top. Mm-hmm. What it's all about.
Yep.
It's a cool deal, man. It is really cool.
It's the company that sponsored the Xfinity Series race at Martinsville. I just wanted to be, part.
I know. And so that's going to be a cool interview because I always love interviewing people right after they've sponsored an event, whether it be short track or NASCAR. Yep. For the very first time.
Yep. Their experience, how it went.
It is totally
what it was about.
Yeah, because it's totally different than just going to the race. Mm-hmm. And then we have 20-year-old Mason Diaz.
Mason Diaz from Manassas, Virginia. Young racer. He's been racing in all sorts of different series for quite a few years.
But he is a full-time driver for Venturini Motorsports.
I know them because I lived in Illinois.
Venturini Motorsports. In fact, he drives the number 25 Toyota Camry. He does a part-time in the ARCA Menard Series. Mm-hmm. And then he does part-time ARCA Menard Series West, where he got his career best ARCA finish. Finished second, not this past weekend, but the weekend before out in California.
Yes, sir.
Came real close to getting the win. So, he joined with Sam Hunt.
Yep. For the Martinsville.
For
the Draft Top 250.
For the Draft Top 250. And
had a nice
also
run.
The Phoenix race. So we're going to talk to him about that. And we got a great story from Randy Hallman.
Yeah. He messaged us last night. Was like, listen to this. I got a good one for you today. So we are looking forward to that one.
Definitely not going to give it away. But we have a phenomenal show for you. And what better way to kick it off than to talk about Martinsville?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Fantastic.
Martinsville, now that it is the last race, and it is the last race in 2021 too.
Yep.
Oh, if it could only had a packed house.
Yep.
I mean, trucks, Xfinity, Cup.
All three races were fantastic. And
the Cup race was the best of all.
Yeah, yep. And you don't always say that. Every weekend, if the Cup race was the best, but the Cup race was the best by far. You had all of the drama of the playoffs. You had all the drama of the cutoff. The action on track was fantastic too. You had, oh man, where do we even start?
Brandon, how much money would you have bet before the playoffs started that Kevin Harvick was automatically going to be in?
Let's see here. I don't have a lot of money, but
if you did,
if I did, I would have. Man,
I probably would have bet. I don't have a lot in my bank account either, but I would have bet every dime in my bank account.
Every dime. See, you're way more bold than I am. I go 50%. 50%.
It's not that.
Yeah.
Everybody that was talking about the playoffs had Kevin Harvick as one of the final four.
Mm-hmm. And why wouldn't you have?
And to be honest with you, the prognosticators, really had him winning the whole thing because he's so good at Phoenix. And that team has risen to the occasion every single time. He had some bad luck last Wednesday at Texas when they finally got the race in, hit the wall, finished 16th, and then what happened at Martinsville happened at Martinsville. And Chase Elliott.
Yep.
Man,
talk about a walk-off home run.
But it's not even that. Karma, it's cost him a championship run. Martinsville has.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Before.
Yeah.
When Denny. Yeah. Yeah. We remember that one.
So, and good young driver. Mm-hmm. I think You have to put him and Logano right up there, and Denny's really good at Phoenix.
Denny's really good. I
haven't looked at Keselowski's.
I think that team. Well, Logano won in the spring at Phoenix. Weather conditions are going to be totally different. It's going to be cooler. It's going to be getting dark earlier. But I think that the 11 team is going to come prepared, especially after last year, the mistake they made with the tape on the front end of the car at Homestead. I think future Hall of Famer Denny Hamlin, I think he's going to take it home at Phoenix, finally.
And, because Homestead set up for Denny because he was so good there. Mm-hmm. And Phoenix automatically sets up for Harvick typically.
Yep.
He's so good there.
Yep.
And then I saw a text, not a text, but a tweet by our buddy Rick Mast. Said, here's an idea. Why doesn't the regular season champion get a provisional, so to speak?
A pass through to the championship, and then they settle it with the
I would put it as a provisional. Okay? You have to run. You can't just start and park. Mm-hmm. You have to run all the laps you can. But if for some reason the regular season, because to be honest with you, that would make the regular season championship, just like short tracks, relevant.
Yeah, it would elevate it to another level.
The thing is who cares, really, the fan base, who the regular season champion is? It's all about the final champion.
Yep, absolutely. I think, I saw Dave Moody came back to Rick and was like, hey, so the regular season champion could potentially, you could run all the laps. You could never, legislate, oh, well, the car ran bad, so he was lagging. But you could potentially run 40th every single week and still make it into the championship four. So Dave was like, hey, can we make it the most consistent driver throughout the whole entire season, which made more sense to me because then you don't have a regular season champion that just puts all his eggs in the championship race basket. I liked that compromise. So Rick was like, we can tweak the tweak.
Yeah, we can, but again, if you just do the most consistent, regular season champion means nothing.
True.
I'm sure there's a check for that. They get a dollar amount for that,
and they get some extra playoff points too.
Yeah, and they get a trophy.
Yep.
But
personally, I don't
go into the playoffs number one seed. It's kind of like it's kind of like March Madness, baby.
Yeah.
But in November.
Yeah. Oh man, it is November, isn't it?
It is.
It just changed.
Oh,
daylight savings time happened. It's my worst day of the year.
I hate it. Even though we got an extra hour sleep.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't. I hate it. I don't care about the extra hour sleep. If it's when it's dark at 5 o'clock, it just. I can't wait.
When you have to drive home in the dark.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
But if you move to Arizona.
Yeah. They don't do it. They don't do it.
I think Indiana or Illinois don't do it.
So South Bend, Indiana, like that area in Indiana doesn't do it, like where Notre Dame is.
Yeah. Yep. So, I know there's a couple places that don't do it.
It's just now we're not going to.
And see, here, for me, here's a prime example why they need to change it. We farm our own land.
Yeah.
At the racetrack.
Yep.
Now, you have to run the lights on the compound. You can't see a whole lot.
Yeah.
So now it shortens your day because you can't really get in the field until like noon because of the cold dampness from the night before. Because I don't want to get into it.
We're talking about daylight savings time. It sucks.
It sucks.
We don't like it.
But
it is going to get darker.
Langley had. Well, let's skip this. Langley had a great final points race. The Sean Beluso 100 or Modtober, and had a good car count. Had a great race from all accounts.
Yeah, absolutely. Trophy looked phenomenal. Congrats to Vaughn and them for putting that together.
That was a huge trophy. Yep. And the pole award was pretty cool. It was a flag that flew over on one of the ships there.
Oh, really? I didn't even see that.
It had been flown on a ship, and they put it in a case that you can see it. They folded it up.
Yep.
and that was kind of cool.
That's neat. That's really neat.
Kind of melding the military stuff that's around the Speedway. But Mark Wirtz, champion,
and we
won the race and the championship.
And I think that the race itself, getting that trophy, and because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on the pace laps, he carried the ashes of Sean Beluzzo around the track before the green flag flew. So that race itself had to mean the world to Mark to win that race.
Yeah, it was. I think anybody that would have won that race would have held that trophy in high regards.
Absolutely.
It was bad. It probably was. Yeah. It was probably a good 3-4 feet tall.
Yeah. It looked awesome. Had the Sean's signature on it. It was just
Mighty
phenomenal.
Mouse had the 48 in the Mighty Mouse.
Kudos to our friends at Langley for doing that. That's fantastic. Racing is winding down in the state of Virginia this year. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Ararat out in the western part of the state, getting ready to have their banquet.
Yeah. This is it's the time of year.
A couple of their drivers in the 602 class, I think 602 modified class, actually went down to Charlotte for the short track world finals.
Yep.
And won. Were first and second.
Really?
Yeah, and then I think one of the guys in the U car also won. As promised, Brandon, we need to head to the phone lines. We need to talk to some really cool cats. And I really, after kind of chatting with them on a video call, I really want to know how this all came about, because it is a cool invention. When they say it's the ultimate bar tool, they aren't lying. Okay, they're not. Of course, we're on the phone line. We have Sean Kelly. He is the co-inventor, co-founder, owner, and Patrick Parizo, also a co-owner partner. Hello, guys. How you doing?
Hey. Great.
In unison.
In
we
unison.
love it.
In unison. Of course, folks, if you don't already know and hadn't heard already, you're living under a rock, because they sponsored the Xfinity race at Martinsville, which turned out to be a phenomenal event. And not only that, a Virginia driver came home the winner, Harrison Burton, and broke his dad's record for the youngest Xfinity driver to win a race there. So that's pretty cool. I got to know, let's start with Sean. Sean, what was your experience like this weekend at Martinsville?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, Martinsville is definitely a track that you have to get to. It's super cool, short track. It's just awesome. I was lucky enough that they let me do the command to start the race. And so that was really fun to get out on the track and then have to jump over the pit wall and run past the cars so I could get out. Definitely nerve-wracking for sure, being on national television doing that. But, a little practice helps. And it was so much fun. Everyone there was amazing. The drivers were great. And it was just, the weather was awesome. We were super happy to have a great race.
What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, it was just a blast. And even though, they had 1,000 fans there, but, all you saw was like smiles on everybody's face. Everybody was just really excited to get out to be at the race. I've never been to Martinsville, but I had a lot of friends tell me how excited they were for me to go there to get to, experience that track, and they were 100% right. Also, one of the big things at Martinsville is the hot dogs, and they were a grand slam as well. So it was awesome.
That was one of my questions to both of y'all after our suggestions. In fact, after we talked to you on the video call, I sent you an email and I said, "This is the way you need to get it.
Yeah,
you need to get the loaded Martinsville dog
all the way. Now that is my question to both of you. Did you get it? Mm-hmm. Did you both get at least one all the way? And what was the experience like?
Well, I think we had about 40 in our suite, and they were gone within like an hour. I mean, people just kept going back and being like, "Oh man, they're all gone." We had to get more. They were awesome. Yeah, I got them all the way. I spent a lot of time in Chicago, so I love hot dogs.
Yeah.
And these were different. They were unique, and I enjoyed them a lot. So I'm really glad you guys made that suggestion, and I made a point to go seek them out. And it was well worth the suggestion. So definitely grab one of those if you ever go there.
Now, was it when you bit into it for the first time and saw the color? Was it surprising at all to you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's funny too because I've actually in Maine I think they have similar color hot dogs as well, and so I was like, oh, this looks like Maine. So it wasn't super surprising to me, but it definitely was like shocking. But I was warned by you, so I was kind of looking for what it was going to be like.
I am so happy.
Yeah.
I am so happy right now that you'd actually, took us up on,
Yeah, absolutely. Like that my first experience was just like your experience. Like you hear them talk about it on TV for like years and years, and you finally make it to Martinsville, and you bite into one for the first time, and you're like, oh, this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I had more than I should have had. That's what I should say.
But you know what goes really good with hot dogs? Beer.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of what you guys are all about. For anybody.
Hold on. Don't leave out the sodas.
Soda. Okay. All right. Beer and soda.
You can take this this ultimate bar tool.
Okay.
Take the top off a soda.
Okay.
And pour your favorite liquor into it.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Forgive me for leaving out the soda. Any cans, but that was my attempt at a segue into into your product. Draft Top that that you guys put your name on the Martinsville Xfinity Series race. My first question is, what was the conversation like? I love drinking conversations, and is that how this product came to be?
Yeah. So
go ahead, Pat.
Yeah. Well, we did crowdfunding in December, just this past December, and one of the people that backed our product on there, they were part of iRacing League, the simulated racing leagues. They live over in Norfolk, Virginia, which is close to where I'm at, and he had mentioned about the racing league, and they were looking for a sponsor for it. So we came up with a unique way to help those guys out, and then with COVID coming, the iRacing League got really popular during the time when the racing was kind of cut off for a little while. And, someone from over at NASCAR caught the league because we were kind of like the Bush or the Xfinity of that league. It was the Draft Top League, and cars had Draft Tops all over them. And I mean, it was a warm welcoming from that league. And then, so that's kind of how the door got open with NASCAR, funny enough. And, we had the conversations from there. Kind of interesting.
And then to answer your other question, which is like, how did this come about? Our other founder, Armin, someone in college taught him how to open or take the top off of a can with his teeth. And so yeah, that is true. I'm not making that up. There's a video
I've
of
heard
him
about
doing
taking
it.
a bottle top off a glass bottle with your teeth, but not a can.
Yeah, I never heard of it either. And then he showed me a video of him doing it, and I was utterly shocked. But he said that he noticed the experience of it was so much better. And so he felt like there was definitely got to be a better way to do this without requiring a lot of dental work. So that's kind of how we started this project. Him and I started this project a few years ago, and brought Pat and Alex on, and now we're sponsoring NASCAR races. So it's been a lot of fun and a wild ride for sure.
Well, and this is where this comes in. I mean, everybody's always said drinking out of a can, whether it be wine, beer, even soda, doesn't taste as good as a fountain. Or a tap, and it's all based off smell. Your senses, your sense of smell is what says, "Hey, that's a damn good beer."
Good.
It talks to the taste buds and say, "Hey, before you get it, it's going to be really good."
Yeah. 100%.
So, so now you have this tool, and it's pretty cool. You just you hold the can near the top, and you take it, and about a half a turn or something like that.
Comes off.
And it cuts the top off, but it also smooths the edge.
Yeah, it leaves the pressed rim.
Yeah. So now, if it's a beer, you can. If it's a Corona, you can put a lime in it. If it's a Blue Moon,
You can put an orange in it.
You put an orange in it.
That's my jam.
And for single guys, after you're finished, wash it, put it up on the shelf. You got yourself a cup.
Perfect.
And I tell you, it's especially with the racing world. I mean, so many people come camping. We go camping all the time, and you don't want to have glass in your camper and using plastic cups all the time. So we do keep the cans for at least the weekend, and we reuse them if we're going to make other drinks and stuff like that. So there's a lot of uses for the can after what typically is one use. Drinking beer the traditional way. So
an herb planter.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say what kind of herb. And pen holder.
It'd be good for your kids' science project type of herb.
Yeah,
planter.
for sure.
But, I mean, if you go to the beach nowadays, if you're caught with bottles, you're asked to take them and put them back in your car. So this is perfect now because you take a can. My wife, she hates it because she can't stuff that lime down in her Corona.
And you guys came along and changed her world.
Yes, you're gonna make my life very easy.
What I want to know is you had the conversations to get into racing, and you were doing the iRacing during this the stoppage of the pandemic and stuff. But in your mind, why racing? Like why did you want your product to be associated with racing?
We have a lot of these conversations, and it's where can we go out and see people that really could resonate with the mission that we're trying to show. And we're an American-made product. We're an American-made brand, and it's just, to me, NASCAR is an American sport. It's revolved around drinking, having a good time, listen to the race cars roaring their engines. It's just, I don't know. It's a crazy experience if you've never been to the track, and even with just the 1,000 people there, you could still feel the energy at that racetrack. It was pretty amazing.
And I would also add to that to us it's kind of a match made in heaven. I mean, there's a difference between going to a race and watching the race on TV, right? Like, you feel the engines vibrate through your chest, you smell the rubber as it's burning off the tires. Like, that's kind of how we view this product as well, is like, until you have gone to and experienced it for your first time, like, you're never going to forget your first time. And once you experience it, like, you're hooked. So we kind of equate that, like, our product experience with the racing experience is very, very much parallel. And plus, who doesn't like sitting in the stands and watching some people race and drinking some cans? Like, it's the best feeling in the world on a summer day.
Well, if you go to the ballpark, a lot of times you can get a draft. It's not, it's not in a can, or, some ballparks use aluminum bottles or something, but this makes perfect sense. It really does. I personally this made in the USA. I want to point out to all the folks out there are people selling copies that come from probably China and overseas. Don't be fooled. If it's not sold by Draft Top, it's not the original and probably not going to work the same.
Right, 100%. We put a lot of effort, and we have a robotics engineer that designed this thing. So he knows what he's doing, and we're always trying to improve this product. And so if it doesn't say American made, we have a little pun on there. It says American made on our tool, as well as our name on it. And it's not sold at drafttop.com or sold by Draft Top LLC on Amazon, then it's probably not real. So I would definitely be looking out for that.
That's absolutely awesome. What else is awesome is that you are signed on to sponsor next year's Martinsville Xfinity Series races as well. It'll be the Draft Top 250 again, and I want to know what went into making it a 2-year deal, and what do you guys have planned to, once hopefully next November, October, November, there are fans in the stands. How do you have planned on activating with a full house next year, which will be fantastic?
Yeah, so I think the conversation was, we wanted to make this a long relationship. We wanted to really build something here that, we could appreciate, NASCAR could appreciate it, and the fans could appreciate, and to be a part of something. And next year, the number one plan is I'm bringing my camper, so I'm going to be there for multiple days. We're going to be out mingling with the people that are camping and hanging out there, because I got a little opportunity to be able to go out there this weekend, and even though there was the COVID restrictions and people were kind of keeping their distance, there was still a good amount of people having fun out there. So it was a different, awesome atmosphere still, and I'm excited for a packed house in the future with that.
Well, you guys need to be commended, because to come on board and sponsor an event where you can't have fans, or the lack of a full house, you had 1,000, but not being able to activate a sponsorship at an event where they have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people, it goes a long way to say everybody. I know the whole racing community says thank you to you. And I'm going to tell you what, folks, the best way to say thank you to these folks is to go to drafttop.com and buy one of these ultimate bar tools.
Y'all need to get Dave on the payroll.
Yeah, for real.
Hey, look,
thank you.
I've done this a time or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell. And we've heard thank you from a lot of people in the racing community when we were there. The few that we did get to talk to were very appreciative of like our sponsorship and stuff. And I was like, why are you thanking me? I should be thanking you guys, because we get to come to this thing and hang out with all the great racing fans and see a great event and just be a part of the NASCAR community is a blessing for us. So we're really happy to be a part of it, and we're looking forward to building on it for the years to come.
Brandon, I got an idea right now in my head. If the COVID stuff goes away and we have a full house at Martinsville next year, we take the show on the road, we do a live show.
And we do it with these guys.
Yes, at Martinsville.
At Martin. Love it.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm down.
I'm sure we can get some guys to actually come up and do some interviews with us if we're there on the property.
Oh yeah. We'll have Harrison.
Yeah.
We'll have Harrison and Jeb Burton come hang out. Jeff, all the Racing Virginia guys.
Man, we can't thank you again, Sean and Patrick, for joining us here on the Racing Virginia podcast, and we can't thank you enough for sponsoring the Xfinity race at Martinsville. It means a lot to us because that's part of our family. So for us, me and Brandon, that means a tremendous amount to us, and I know it does to all the fans. By the way, don't sleep on the college and NFL football season, guys. You need one of these ultimate bar tools for this for football. I mean, I'm looking at West Virginia University.
Yeah, I'm wearing my WVU sweatshirt
football,
today.
His football sweatshirt.
Different Virginia.
But we can't thank you enough, and we hope to be able to talk to you again here shortly.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, and thank you.
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Thanks.
Yep, you have a good one.
See ya.
Man, what some great guys.
You know what?
Great guys.
You know what I'm gonna do this week, because I
gotta get mine in the mail.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't get to go to Martinsville this weekend, but so I went hiking and camping with my girlfriend, and she doesn't like me to watch she wants me to be paying attention to everything else, but I had to bring up the races on my phone even when we were in the woods. And we went out drinking. We went out drinking. I'm going to get me a draft top for just these occasions this week.
Yeah.
Get it in the mail.
Got it. And folks, you need to go there too. You need to support the sponsors that support our sport If it wasn't for sponsors, we would have a rough time running
Yep.
any race
Mm-hmm.
anywhere.
It's all symbiotic. Fans, sponsors, racers, everything.
And to have them sponsor, because like one of them's a local boy.
Yep.
He was in Gloucester.
He's right up the road.
Patrick's number was a 757 number, So, we have a local connection there. And as always, we forgot to talk about it too. An Xfinity race, Harrison Burton winning, and then Jeb finishing 4th.
Yeah.
God, I hope he gets a ride next year.
Yeah. Because based on his tweet, he's not going to be back at Junior Motorsports next year. He deserves a shot in a car that's able to win races. He is that.
Yeah.
He is that talented.
And I think that because the 8 Josh Berry is
who also deserves
is going to be in that 8 car for the first half of the season next year. So, kind of took that opportunity away.
Yep.
We gotta keep this show rolling.
Speaking of young, talented racers from right here in Virginia,
if there was any guy that was busier than this guy, I don't know who it is. Because not only is he racing late model stock when he's not racing ARCA Menards East full time with Venturini Motorsports, and he drives that number 24 Solid Rock Carriers Toyota in late model stock. He won him a second championship at Southern National Motorsports Park, and he finished 5th in the ARCA Menards East Series. He is Mr. Mason Diaz from Manassas, Virginia. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. We sat here and talking a little while ago, and I can't. Your schedule. You're a full-time student at Old Dominion, studying business and marketing, and at the same time running late model stock and running the ARCA stuff all over the place. And now you throw in some more Xfinity stuff. It's not your first Xfinity rides, but you added 2 more races with Sam Hunt Racing. Talk about how you have navigated the COVID-19 pandemic. We've talked to a lot of drivers about it. I want to hear your take on it.
Well, the COVID-19 definitely changed everything. It brought the schedule forward from a year-long basics to running every weekend from the beginning of June to obviously mid-November. So instead of running 20-some races throughout 6-7 months, you're doing it in 5 months, 4 months. So it just changed it to the fact of it's a full swing of being full time. So the biggest thing is for me is all classes now are online. I have 2 in-person classes I have to go to, but most of them are online. So that's easy. So I can just do my schoolwork Monday through Wednesday, and then I can have Thursday and Friday travel days for race on the weekends.
You started out in go-karts, did very well in that. Then you went to Bandoleros, again, did very well at that. And that's you got your first go-kart at 4. How many guys have gotten their first go-kart at 4, Brandon? And then you went into Legends, and you became a Virginia State champion in Legends. Went to limited late models and raced at South Boston Speedway. And then in 2016, you really opened up a lot of people's eyes because in your first Snowball Derby, you finished 10th. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we started go-karts at a young age and just moved forward, just like any other path. We only raced at our local track, so we didn't really travel to places to get like a Young Lion National Championship or anything like that. We just stayed close to home. My sister was playing hockey and everything, so we were staying close so we can be everything. And plus, school was important back then. It still is now. And and then we moved up, and I raced I think 4 or 5 limited model races, and then we went to pro late models. So I made my first pro late model start when I was 14 and with past series, and then we just carried on with that. In 2016, I raced our national for the pro late model. We had a series there, and I finished second to Colt James in points. Shouldn't have won one, but we did not that year. We came back the following year and won one. But and then we moved on to late model stocks, and that's what gave us a start into ARCA.
You know, Snowball Derby is not an event that someone just goes there and makes. But yet you went for the first time at a very young age and then made the event and finished 10th. That catapulted you to Venturini Motorsports coming up, I'm sure, and offering you a ride. In I think it was 2019. You were going to do a part-time, but it ended up being full-time. Talk about what it felt like to have a team like Venturini Motorsports. Everybody knows that name.
Well, actually, we ran the pro late model race in Snowflake, and I finished 10th there my first time. We did go for a derby run one year. I think it was 2018, and we had motor issues, so we never made the show. This year, I'm going for my second time for the Derby, but really my first attempt at the Derby this year. But all my solid runs, I think, put on the show for what Venturini could see in me, my potential. Somehow I came across their death name, and it wasn't just because of a few races. It was probably because of the majority of which I'm thankful for. It's been a rough season with Venturini. Just a lot of we wrecked out a few times. We had a couple parts failure. It wasn't the year that we all expected, but we went out west and we finished. We should have won the Friday night deal at Roseville, but we didn't. We got wrecked out of that one. And then we had a fast car, but Taylor Gray, he had a faster car for that Kern. But it was a great season with them. Learned a lot about what we need to do, what I need to do, what I need to prove on. And it was a great learning experience.
You know, there's such an iconic fixture in ARCA racing. You know, they've launched the careers of a lot of drivers. So for you to be racing with them, that means something.
It does. Definitely when you look at the list of drivers that have passed through Venturini, which the list is huge, that have made it to Cup, Xfinity, Truck. I mean, they've made it through all the series, and there's a lot of them that are in Cup full-time right now. And to be a part of that is really special. To be able to say that I raced with a team that was able to develop drivers into Cup drivers, it's an amazing feeling to have. And I will never take that for granted, because it's small steps like this that can take you a better opportunity, or not better opportunity, just different opportunities to increase your career at a faster pace.
I want to go back to what David mentioned earlier, and getting your first go-kart at 4. You know, a lot of kids might get a go-kart or something, but it doesn't manifest into a racing career. When did you know as a kid, I want to do this as a career, or I want to do this as a life goal?
Well, I mean, honestly, sad to say, I don't remember getting my first go-kart because it was 4.
Okay.
I remember the concept, but I don't remember the physical day. I remember I got it at Christmas. So it was a Jeff Gordon go-kart, but I don't remember many of the races through there because it's just such a young age. Remember getting trophies all the time, but I just don't, like, you can't remember that one specific race that, like, nowadays when I want a race, I can tell you everything about it. Just as I continued forward, my dad kept turning to me, he goes, "You still enjoy it?" I said, "Yes." So when I raced bandos and everything, I was playing soccer too. So I played soccer through high school till sophomore year. And then I stopped it because all the games were on Fridays, and so I would miss them to go racing. And then my dad just kept asking me, "Do you enjoy it?" And I was like, "Yes, I enjoy it." And we just continued going forward. And apparently I've done something right to get the names of people who will be looking at me.
You know, you partnered with Sam Hunt for 2 Xfinity races. Not your first Xfinity race. In fact, Brandon, it's not you that gave him a race for, but in 2017, Mason, you did run at Martinsville, but it was in the trucks with Brandon Brown's Brandon Built Motorsports team, and then you also made your Xfinity debut at Richmond. I love that. Mm-hmm. And in a fall race of 2018, again with Brandon Brown's team. Talk a little bit about partnering with him to kind of get your feet wet in both the truck and the Xfinity series.
Well, to really understand the concept with that is you have to go back to when I was a kid. Brandon used to be racing at Old Dominion Speedway, and so he was racing late model stocks, and then I was racing Bandoleros, and I would go over and talk to him. He would teach me things. He would help me with anything. I was racing Bando back then, so it really wasn't a concept of car handling. It was more just concept of being smooth on the wheel and stuff like that. But he helped me through there. And then as when they made their debut, we went to start national start racing. He was racing full time there, and then I just kept following him as I was improving, going to Legends and then Limit Late models and stuff. By the time I got the Limit Late models, he was already making his careers and trucks. But we've always had a family connection with them, and it's always been a fun time with them. Sometimes we always have our disagreements. I mean, everyone does, but it's always they gave me my first starts with a great crew needs them that they've been working on developing, and I was able to fill the seats in for sometimes with them. And 2017, we decided to make our first truck start at Martinsville because I was old enough to after a great year I was having, so we figured it was the perfect time to do it. And then at some point, they stopped racing trucks. I think 2018 is when they went to Xfinity, and we wanted to help them out, and they wanted to help us out about getting some more rides. So we partnered back together and made our debut at our home track.
You partnered with Sam Hunt for these for the two races, and you raced at Martinsville this past weekend in the draft top 250, and you ended up finishing 20th. Talk about that race and what it felt like to get back in an Xfinity car. I know you race ARCA, but they are two different animals.
They are. If you were to compare ARCA cars to anything in NASCAR, they would be probably similar to Xfinity cars, which is the best thing for me. But everyone on Sam Hunt's crew is amazing. They all are working great. They all have a great relationship together, and just being able to run for this team is amazing. Definitely, because they are a small-time team, just like majority of the teams, but they are a small-time team that they put everything into effect in being able to get on the racetrack, and I love to be a part of that kind of stuff. This weekend's race with Eddie on the box and Jesse on the roof, I thought we did a great job this weekend. I don't think our finishing spot shows of what we could have accomplished. That last caution was, I think, about 30 to go. It was either we stay out for track position or come in for tires, and we decided for track position, and it just didn't fall our way. We were hoping for some late race cautions to kill some of those laps, but we actually went green flag to the end, so it kind of hurt us there. But sometimes pin position doesn't really show what the speed of the car you had versus what you could have had. Car came back in one piece, and I made all 100. I never won a lap down. So on a short track, that's pretty cool to say that. And it was overall a really good weekend. I'm happy to do it again this weekend with them.
It was really impressive just because you started 38th. You got absolutely no practice. You didn't know what the car was really going to feel like. And Martinsville is one of the toughest tracks there are to navigate. Were you impressed at all with yourself and how you handled getting up through the field, not going a lap down, and bringing it home with a successful finish?
Yeah, I would say so. I never really judge myself, so to say. I always just want to perform the best I can, and there's always stuff you can work on. My struggling point, I think, is pit lane, because I only have the truck start and the Xfinity starts with pit lane stops and live pit stops. So I knew that was going to be an issue, so I didn't get a speeding penalty there. So that made my day a little bit easier or better to me. Just to be able to say that we started 38th, and at one point we restarted 12th. So we made it to the front of the field. We just didn't end up that way. But there's so much strategy that goes into these races, which I'm just starting to figure out because I only have a few starts with them. But there's so much strategy you can do and to gain track position, which is very important in the top 3 series, or even ARCA. Track position is everything. And there's just so much to continue to learn that I do not know about. So for me to be able to go out there and finish 20th this weekend, I think it was a good run.
You're running Phoenix, the final race of the season in the Xfinity Series. But what, looking on to 2021 and beyond, what's next for Mason Diaz?
We are still working on that. Always going to be running short track stuff, late model stock somewhere. I love it. I always want to be in that series. It's what I grew up racing, and it's just so much fun to go on the weekends with your friends and be racing close to home or going to short tracks around the nation. It's always fun. But other than that, I don't really know what we are doing next year. We have some cool plans in the works, I think. But we still have a busy season this year. I still have this race this weekend at Phoenix with Sam Hunt Racing. And then we go into the Derby. And the Derby, that's a long race. It's a long race weekend. It's almost a week's worth of time. So full focus is still on this year until we go into next year.
Now, the family loves racing, not just you.
Oh, yeah.
Southern National Motorsports Park has a close relationship to you.
Yes, it does. It's a lot closer than what people think. My dad, and honestly, here, Brandon's dad, Jerry, they and one other person, they went in and partnered it onto in 2011. They purchased Southern National Motorsports Park, and we were all hands-on for a while there before Brandon went to Xfinity truck racing, and Jerry and Brandon kind of stepped away from Southern National, and we carried it forward. It's my family really that works on there, and we run a lot of races throughout the season, and I work full-time there on top of doing all of this stuff. And can't say I would want it a different way. I enjoy it.
I know it's in North Carolina, okay, but your dad and the folks that they rescued it. It was going to be dormant. It was not going to be racing until they decided they were going to purchase it.
Yeah, they went down for an auction and decided to. Well, Jerry never actually went. My dad went with someone else, and they flew down there and they looked at it and flew back home. And one guy didn't want to be a part of it, so my dad really wanted to be a part of it. So he talked to a few people, and one of them was Jerry Brown, and they decided to go forward with it. My family's full on there. My sister, she's a huge help down there. My mom is, my dad. It's us four running the racetrack with a few other helps. Charlie's a huge help down there, but it's mainly us that live 3.5, 4 hours away. Depending on traffic, it's even longer, and we put shows on for people. I love it. It's just the fact to bring people together to do something they enjoy. And it's a short track side that a lot of people my age or in racing alone don't really get to see or be a part of to understand the full concept of racing.
It's a great track. It's got a lot of banking. I mean, it's like Bristol. And it's a fast racetrack. So I had the honor of being able to announce some of the bigger races like the Thanksgiving race that unfortunately because of the COVID stuff had to be canceled down there. But it's a great facility, and we can't thank your dad and the rest of them that took part in rescuing it, because no matter if it's North Carolina track or Virginia track, South Carolina, West Virginia, it all plays into, because sponsors see stuff, tracks closing, and for tracks to stay open or be saved, it rescues the whole sport. And we can't tell your dad, we can't thank him enough. It's a lot of work. Trust me, it's a 2-hour drive from Richmond, and it's not the most fun drive. It's kind of boring, to be honest with you.
I've done that drive hundreds of times.
I'm sure you have.
It hasn't got. It was fun the first couple times. It's a good thing, and then the next year comes along, and it's like, okay, we got this drive to do, and now it's like, well, let's drive to the second place we have to go, and it's always a 3.5-hour drive. Can never be faster. It'll always be slower.
Yes.
It'll always be slower, because it's been 10 hours one time to get down there because it's traffic.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, we can't.
And Richmond traffic sucks.
It does. It does. I can tell you, when he says Richmond traffic, going through the city.
Yeah.
So it's almost better if you jump on 295 and go.
It is. No, it is. But over by Kings Dominion area, 98 or 95, it's always backed up.
Oh,
that's brutal.
It's terrible. It's brutal. Oh, it's brutal
It's
there. Man, we can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us, man. We talk about it all the time. What an amazing group of drivers we have here in our state. And the amount of different types of racing we have here in the state. And that's our job here at Racing Virginia, is to promote you guys, the Virginia drivers that are making a name for themselves, and promote the racetracks and the races. I mean, this state has something that a lot of states don't have. We have two NASCAR tracks, not one. We have two.
Well, Motor Mile's come back next year, so that's another one.
I know that's going to be good. That's again, someone saving Motor Mile.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, but can't thank you enough, man, for taking the time to visit with us, and we hope to talk to you again soon. And good luck this weekend at Phoenix. Make us proud.
That's what I'm going to try to do. I think this weekend the lineup has not come out yet, but I think we're going to be starting a little bit further towards the front.
Yeah.
That helped tremendously, and I have never been there before, but I have some time, and I'm watching film and preparing as much as I can to get ready for it. And I can't thank everyone at Sam Hunt Racing, Prince William Marina, Solid Rock Carriers, Flow Coating, everyone that's been a part of this deal, these 2 races to be put together. It's a huge opportunity for myself, and I'm trying to make the best of them.
Man,
Very cool.
You made Brandon smile.
Yep.
You said sim racing.
Sim time.
Sim
I do a
time,
little
I
sim
know.
racing, so.
Little,
Yeah, dude.
Little eye racing. So, but thank you again, and we look forward to talking to you, bud.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
man.
Man, what a great young kid.
Great young kid
Another
with a
one.
ton of talent.
Another. Oh man, he is.
Yep.
He's got it. I mean, for Venturini to come and talk to you about joining their team, not you going to them and saying, "Hey, what do I got to do to get a seat?"
Yep.
Because they are. I don't.
They're the patriarch of ARCA Menard Series teams. Like, they are the.
If you want to make it to the next level,
Yep.
and that's the ladder rung that you're going to take, ARCA,
Yep.
you can't get a better race team. You just can't.
Yep. Exactly.
But again, Brandon, it's one of those things where we have such a great amount of talented drivers. I mean, we keep stumbling on them. It's just crazy.
As if by accident, we found these.
Well, it's, you just don't realize it a lot of times.
No, absolutely not. Like, the fact that you can see over and over and over again, oh, this guy's from Virginia, this person's from Virginia, over and over and over again. We could put our state up against all of them, I would think.
I'd take our guys against any other state any day.
Any day.
Let's have an all-star race.
Hey, there we go.
You pick your drivers from your state, and we'll get them all coming,
Yeah.
maybe 2 or we got to have at least 5 because we got so many drivers from the state. We got to have at least 5 in the ranks.
I think speaking of stumbled upon something, I think we stumbled upon something really cool.
I think we did too. But you know what time it is.
Yeah. I do it. Do I?
Do you know what time it is?
Now I do.
It's time to hear a story from Randy Hallman. And this one's kind of funny. It's got to be.
He gave us a little insight into what it might be today.
Yes,
So
he gave us a little insight, and we saw a picture.
Yeah. So we'll let him explain it.
Hey, Randy, what's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Before we get to that story, though, what were your thoughts about Martinsville this weekend?
Well, I've complained forever about the playoffs. I'm willing.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah. I'm an old guy. I'm an old curmudgeon. So I'm willing for there to be playoffs. If they want it, they just got to have the playoffs. Okay. And I preferred it when the playoffs were a small season. I mean, you ran for, you put those guys even, and they ran the 10 races or whatever it was, and whoever won that season was a champ. Okay, and I can stand it to have it broken into segments and eliminate people, but coming down to one race has never been a good idea for me, and the way it's set up now, even with the playoff points that they added and all that, you still run the risk of and the thing I've always harped on is you're going to get somebody in that Final Four who doesn't deserve to be champion, and they'll get lucky and win it. But the other end of it is you won't get the guy in there who of all the drivers deserves it most, and that's Harvick. So you're going to have a Final Four without your best one, and I think that's a shame, and it shows the weakness of the playoff system.
Well, we've had a discussion at the beginning of the show, okay? Because Rick Mass made a tweet and said, "How about we tweak the playoffs and the regular season champion gets a provisional if he doesn't make it in through the top 4?"
Yeah, I saw that. I totally agree. I saw that tweet. That's a good start at it anyway.
Well, I mean, Brandon's got a good point.
So Dave Moody came back with so technically, if they did that, the regular season champion could essentially come to the track, run a couple laps, and take the 9 races of the playoffs off and focus all their attention on the championship race. And that they could do that. I'm not sure that they would do that, but they could do that if they wanted to, and that would go completely against the spirit of racing in general.
Right. To which I would reply, hey, if you're right, they need to scrap the playoffs altogether. Good idea.
So here's my point, and I'm an old curmudgeon as well, in a younger guy, I guess you can quote unquote younger guy's body, who I like the Winston Cup system, if you will, but Harvick and his team went into this situation knowing what they had to do. It wasn't like it surprised them.
Yeah.
They weren't surprised by anything that went on in that, and they didn't deliver. So, did they deserve to be cut out, knowing the rules when they went in there? I think that's just the system that we got, and they failed to deliver.
Look, it's not that anybody did anything that didn't belong, that doesn't belong in the system. It's written. Everybody knows the rules, et cetera, et cetera. It's just that the rules are bad. They're bad. If you don't have, all right, we're going to come down to the end of this race.
Your top
we're going
two
to come
drivers.
down to the end of this. We're going to come to the end of this race with Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick side by side, banging fenders, coming to the line, and it ought to be for the championship, but it won't be.
Well, I mean, we almost had the top 2 drivers heading into the playoffs not making it.
Yeah,
it was close.
Denny could have fallen out too.
Sure, which would have been even worse. It could have happened, but either one of them being out is ridiculous.
So do you think?
Here's what's going to happen. One of those guys is going to win. Now I'll say this: all 4 of those guys are good and have had good seasons, and it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, somebody comes and slips in there with 1 win or no wins or whatever. But for a casual fan, and there still are some, they're going to look at this. They're going to look at this. And, what happened? This guy won 9 races. How come he wasn't the champion? Well, no. Well, he was second, right? Well, no, he wasn't. He couldn't win. And so I'm going to have to explain that. And it's just, I hate doing that.
See, I was a fan of simplicity.
Yeah.
Simplicity. You could talk. You could explain the old championship system in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
You race. Person who wins the race gets the most points. They have 30-some races. Whoever accumulates the most points at the end of the season is the champion. All right, gotcha. Let's move on.
Now you need a math degree.
Yeah, you do. And here's another thing: I don't mind it if a guy dominates the season, and with 2 races to go or 3, he is the champion. That's fine. He deserves it. I don't have any problem with that. Now, I guess NASCAR has made such a big deal out of the championship that they think and maybe they're right, that they think it's the only thing that keeps fans watching on television. For me, it's always been more the race itself than the championship.
Yep.
I like the race. I want to know how that guy does on that day with that car.
I'm of the opinion that each race is its own individual championship. And that's why you say Daytona 500 champion, because it kind of is. Because unlike any other sport, you race the entire league every weekend at the same time. You don't have match races where Chase Elliott races against Denny Hamlin for 10 laps and then like say the NFL would do, where the Eagles are playing the Cowboys last night, and the next week they play the Giants. They all play each other at once. Every race is its own champion, and that's what interests me. Because even if Rusty Wallace, who I was a huge fan of as a kid, he was out of the championship chase most races when I was watching as a kid, but I could tune in every single week and see if he was going to beat the entire field that day.
Well, we agree completely, and as a major, for instance, it's David Pearson winning 11 of 18 races. He wasn't even thinking about the championship, but oh my gosh, he wanted to be there when he was there. You know, It was the race that counted. It was the race, and I think it's just that's what I grew up on. I'm so old, Brandon. I can't be helped.
I will say to bring in a conversely point. I was at the championship race in 2017 when Martin Truex beat Kyle Busch for the championship. And I went there as a fan, not as a NASCAR or a track employee. I was there strictly as a fan, and I was pulling for Martin that weekend. And I will say that the excitement that the end of that race brought because of that system, the winner-take-all type system, my face was numb for how excited I was. And I'm not joking. My face was numb those last 5 laps when Kyle was catching Martin for the championship. So there's an argument to be made on both sides for exciting racing, for special racing. But you've got a story about a certain special race at Martinsville that you did once. So I want to hear that story from you, Randy.
Well, okay, here we go. It was in the 70s, and I can't remember. I don't know what. It's amazing that I can even remember that it happened, I think, because anyway, it was Halloween weekend, and back then, most Halloween weekends, that was the weekend for the Dogwood 500 at Martinsville. That was when they had the split event with modifieds running 250 laps and late model sportsmen running 250. And it was huge. They had probably 100 cars for each series to make that race, and you brought your car from wherever and tried to make the field, and you end up with a great field of 36 cars or whatever it was. And so it was a big event. It was not quite as big as their Cup races, but it was pretty close to it. So this is the 70s. And I always went to that race, and they had one in the spring, the Cardinal 500, which was a pair of 250s, and one in October, usually Halloween weekend, which was the Dogwood. So I'm going to the Dogwood, right? And I grew up in Floyd, which is about 30, 40 miles from Martinsville, up in the mountains just above. And my sister lived there, and I went to her house to a Halloween party the night before, and I was a pirate or some ridiculous thing, and the joint was packed. Her house was just full of people, and we were having a very good time. And as a pirate should, I think I had plenty of grog, and I mean, it was lots of people in great costumes. It was fun. We had a good time, and I woke up in the morning, and the place was just littered with people who had pretty much passed out, and nobody else was awake. And one of the guys had come with a huge pumpkin on his head. He was the Great Pumpkin, and he was over there passed out, and I sort of whispered, "Hey, mind if I take this with me?" Knowing that he was not answering. and I took the pumpkin and took it with me to Martinsville. So I drove down there, parked in the parking lot, got out of the car, opened the trunk, put the pumpkin on my head, over my head, sitting on my shoulders, and walked in. I went into to sign up for my credentials, and everybody got a kick out of that. And then I walked into the racetrack, into the pit, and there was Ray Hendrick, the one and only. I think he won the late model race that year. If he did, might have been 74. But anyway, Ray was there, and one of the Miss Winston women, Susan Brinkley, was there, and the photographer for the track got us together, and Ray was on one side. I put my arms around one on one side, one on the other, and Ray was not a publicity hound, but he was a lot of fun, and he was having a pretty good time with that. But he didn't know who it was. Ray and I knew each other pretty well, but he didn't know. And he finally looked in the cutout, the jack-o'-lantern cutout for the mouth, which is what I was looking through. He could see in, and he looked in and he saw who it was, and he said, "Oh, I should have known, Randy. I always knew you were a pumpkin head."
Oh man.
So that was my Halloween. That was my best Halloween moment ever, I think. And certainly my best at a racetrack. Had a good time.
My question is, how long did you keep that thing on at the racetrack? Did you take it off shortly thereafter, or did you scare the hell out of a few more people along the way?
Well, it was a smiling, goofball-looking head, and I wore it on up to the press box. So I probably had it on for better part of an hour before I took it off. I was having too good a time with it, and wore it on up to the press box. You know, I don't know. I was always game for abuse from my fellow reporters.
Oh man, I can imagine the person in my head. The person at the credential office was like, "This quite doesn't match the ID that you've given us, sir."
I'm sorry. I don't see a great pumpkin request here.
Well, the thing is, it's a great photo with you and the great Ray Hendrick.
And we'll post it. We'll post it with the story here later on this week. It's pretty phenomenal. I don't think I could be quite that bold at the racetrack. Putting that, oh my gosh, that big thing on my head. How much did that weigh?
Didn't Dennis Bickmeyer dress up as something?
Yeah. So Randy, you have some competition because we had our track and treat event last week here at Richmond Raceway. I was dressed as a pit crew member, but Dennis Bickmeyer was the red M&M. And that to see him in that thing and then see what he looked like see what he looked like afterwards was pretty impressive.
That's great. That's great. I did wear. I borrowed. It's funny the Hendrick thing. I just remembered this. When years later, I borrowed a racing uniform, fire suit, from Roy Hendrick, and wore that for Halloween when as a race driver. So kind of a two generation connection there.
Now with the access and the security, I guess you could call it, back in those days, do you think you could have been an imposter and gotten in and embedded yourself with the crew?
Oh, I don't know. It's
oh, they didn't know once he went out on the track.
Yeah, like, oh, he can't change tires. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Randy, we can't thank you enough, man. Another great story. That's just an awesome story. It really is. And thank you so much.
Yeah, so I'm always glad to stop in, guys. Enjoying the show as usual, and maybe we can straighten out the playoff system somewhere or other. Take care.
Thanks.
See you, Randy.
Man, that's a pretty good story. Yeah. You know, and we should have talked about it at the beginning because I totally forgot that. Because I saw that Dennis's tweet. Mm-hmm. He said, "I've wore a lot of hats around here, but this one."
Nothing quite like that.
Nothing quite like it.
And he was a trooper out there because if you've ever been in a mascot outfit, no matter what temperature is outside, it is hot, it is humid, there's no air in there whatsoever. And he was out there handing out candy to all the kids. I bet you it was 250 cars, 2, 3, 4 kids apiece in those cars for 3 hours.
And it was cool to have Mars involved.
Yeah, Mars and M&M's gave us all of this candy to hand out to the kids because obviously, you know, with the COVID and stuff, nobody really got a normal Halloween.
Not at my house.
No.
I went through 4 bags of candy at my house.
Did you?
Man, they were everywhere.
Well, interesting. I
was a little generous too.
Well, either way, we had this great event at Richmond last week, and it was really, really cool. I was my friend, shout out to Courtney McGarry. She gave me as a gift a few years ago some Nemco Motorsports pit crew stuff. So I've worn that for Halloween a couple times. So I went around the cars and was like, all right, 4 tires and candy, let's go. And I was running around the cars, dropping candy in the kids' bags and stuff. They were having a ball. So that was cool to do.
This is another example. That day is another example of sponsors stepping up and doing it just for the sheer pleasure of it. And knowing it's the right thing to do.
They didn't have to do that.
No.
They didn't. It was.
Candy
it was,
does cost money.
Yeah. It
Well,
certainly does. Yeah.
I spent it was about $60-$70 worth of candy.
Well, think about that times like
I know.
200 for all these kids, and that's how much they donated to just to make these kids' day. It was a free event. They didn't pay to get in at all.
Love it.
Just gave away.
By the way, when I came in, I got a little nervous that I had traveled back to the Stone Age here on the property.
Because
It kind of scared me a little bit. There's a T-Rex out there.
yeah,
And a raptor.
We got the Jurassic Quest out there at Richmond Raceway here in the Midway
this year, right?
area. Yep, which we've had before. Which really cool stuff.
Those things come alive.
Yeah.
Have you been through it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man, you got to do it. Them things are. If you didn't know better, it would scare the bejeebies out of you.
Okay. I'm not easily scared.
Especially at night, if they do it, once it gets dark. Those things look cool in the dark. Little beady red eyes.
Yeah.
Smoke.
Yeah.
All kinds of. I mean, it's a cool little thing. If you if you want something to do with the kids, how long is it around? How long is it here?
Next week.
Next week?
Yep.
Oh, that's a pretty long time.
Yeah. They made camp out there.
Good time though.
Yep.
Good timing with Halloween.
Yep. Halloween. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Hey, look, Richmond does a lot of things other than race.
Yeah, we got the amphitheater concerts next year. Cross my fingers. Tons of trade shows and events here at the property. We're I would dare to say the most diverse property of all the NASCAR tracks. Speaking of little racing diversity, we're gonna have the mods back at Richmond.
I was getting ready to say
The modifieds are coming back here at Richmond Raceway for the
Fall weekend.
September. Yep,
Yeah.
the September weekend. So we're gonna have an Xfinity Cup doubleheader on September 11th, which is also the 20th anniversary of September 11th, 2001. But the day before that, expanded show with the modifieds coming back. That's going to be a phenomenal race. They always were.
Xfinity's going to be the same day as Cup.
Oh, yep.
That made you talking about making a good ticket.
Yep. A modified race. We've got a concert that weekend too. We've got Cody Jinks.
Oh, he's good.
Scheduled for that weekend.
I like
the next
Cody.
day we've got modifieds, and we've got a doubleheader Xfinity afternoon race, Cup Series night playoff race.
Man, what a weekend.
Going to be great.
And I'm going to tell you what, the modifieds get around Richmond.
Shoom.
I would dare to say if they're not going to put a limiter on them, because back when the Sawyers owned them and the modifieds used to run here on a regular basis, they had to put a restrictor plate on them to slow them down because
They'll haul.
yeah, look,
They will haul around here.
Look, they got big tires. Them things are huge.
Yeah, what's the line from Days of Thunder? The car is half as well. I'm gonna mess this the hell up. He's talking about an Indy car, but it's the same with the modified. It's half the size, and the tires are twice as wide.
Yeah.
Like that's a modified car. So they're gonna be quick around here.
Oh, it's going to be a great show. It really is going to be a great show.
And they're also coming back to Martinsville.
What?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
No.
Coming back to Martinsville April 8th, the spring weekend
the
at
spring
Martinsville.
weekend.
For the first time in 10 years, they are coming back on April 8th, 2021 as part of Martinsville's spring weekend.
I am just above excited about this because the modifieds, they're for a little bit kind of like the forgotten child. They raced, especially up in north. They have a southern division down at Bowman Gray. But they were kind of the forgotten. They didn't race at any of the big, most of the big track. They do race at New Hampshire.
Sure.
But that's a staple up there. I mean, that's on asphalt up in the north.
That's one of
the
their
car.
races, yeah.
And they were kind of like the forgotten child. And to see them coming back to Martinsville and Richmond, and I know, I'm partial because of the Racing Virginia
Sure.
connection.
Absolutely.
And they put on a phenomenal show. It's great that they're going to put them in the spotlight again. Mm-hmm. Because let's be honest, that's kind of the original car.
Right.
It's morphed a little bit, but that's the division that the Ray Hendricks and those guys drove in.
Yep.
The modified division. And this state, Virginia, has just a phenomenal history when it comes to modified drivers and how we did. You know, especially our drivers going up north and kicking butt.
Yeah, exactly. And the show that they're going to put on is fantastic. We're excited about it because it just brings, we talk about the bridging the gap back between grassroots racing and the big dogs of NASCAR.
Next year is 75th anniversary.
75th anniversary of Richmond Raceway. We've got a lot of fantastic stuff in store for that.
Please no COVID. Please no COVID.
Please no COVID. Please no COVID.
I'm saying a little prayer right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you could see me, this is a
Put your
podcast, but if you
hands
could see
together.
me, my hands are together, and if I could get on my knees right now, I would.
We've got a lot of great stuff in store for that. I'm already working on some stuff with Randy Hallman.
I can, yeah.
For the 75th anniversary, so we don't want to
give it away,
yet, but it's going to be really
make
cool.
For some good content on
and
here
it's going to involve the fans. It's going to involve the fans, no matter if we have, God forbid, 0 fans here or a packed house of 55,000 at Richmond. All the fans are going to be involved in the 75th anniversary of Richmond Raceway.
And I'd like to try to figure out how to get some older drivers from those 75 years to come on here and talk Richmond.
Yep.
The history here is just phenomenal.
Yep. And I thought I was a history buff, but I mean,
there's loads and loads of it.
Being the age that I am so excited to talk to people like Randy and Al Pierce about all of the stuff that I missed from the 50s, the 60s, 70s.
From dirt track to half mile to 3/4 mile.
Yep.
There's like 3 chapters of this book.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things we're going to try to tell.
Ooh, that's going to be
that story.
Oh, it's going to be a good year. Yep. Folks, 2021 is going to be a good year. COVID, go away.
Speak it into existence.
That's right.
Speak it into existence.
And I don't know when you hear this week, but I will, regardless of your party affiliation, okay? Regardless of your party affiliation, if you haven't already gone out and voted, because I know you have.
I voted. Got my sticker. And I got 2. I made him give me 2 stickers so I can wear my sticker again tomorrow.
This country is special.
Yeah.
The citizens play a huge part in how it's shaped. So use your vote.
Yeah.
Okay, go out. Don't sit on the sidelines. I don't care, Republican, Democrat. I don't care.
Whatever you are.
Whatever you are.
That's
what
makes. That's one of the things that makes us equal.
Exactly.
Is we all got that voice.
I don't want to get on a soapbox, but as an American,
that is your public service announcement.
Well, as an American, it's your duty to do that.
Absolutely.
That's the founding fathers. That's the way they set this all up. So please, it would be honest with you. There was a lot of ways to vote this year. You didn't have to get up on a Tuesday.
That was the thing. Vote. And the thing was, I think it was communicated better than it ever has before. Been. Like I always vote on election day. This year I went just because I knew.
But see, usually your early voting in the past years hasn't been that early.
Yep. So
because of COVID, there were some things that changed, and
I will tell you this: I was in and out in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
it was good.
Look, when all you could do is go on a Tuesday, it still didn't take but like 10 minutes. You go in, you go out, because they haven't.
Yeah,
go vote.
Speak and. I'm going to try.
Hey, vote for us, too.
You stole my thunder. You stole my thunder. I was going to say go on your favorite podcasting platforms, whether it's Apple or Spotify or Google, or you say Amazon now?
We're one of a few on Amazon.
Perfect.
We were one of the first to be added. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It really is.
So
you can hear it. In fact, I think you can call us up on Alexa. somehow. You say listen to on Audible.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go do that. I don't have.
I don't know.
Alexa.
I'm gonna test it. I got a bunch of them in my house. Somehow I think she's listening to me all the time.
Record that. Oh, she is obviously. Record that. If you go do that, record it and post it. I will share the hell out of that. That's cool.
We had to try it because it's you can hear it on Audible.
So vote for us. Give us 5 stars. Give us a good rating and listen to us.
I will say this. Apple, Spotify, those are the kind of the 2 that really help the most. If you can go to those, be great. Especially if you go to as a listener, even if you don't like podcasts, okay, on a regular basis, just subscribe to us on one of those platforms because it helps us get ranking and it helps us get shown more.
If you love racing in the state of Virginia, or if you love racing
anywhere, because we
general.
talk racing just about anywhere.
Yep.
Especially when it's NASCAR, the Cup events and Xfinity events. So just go vote for us.
Follow us on social media.
Give us a review
at Racing Virginia.
Yeah. And when?
At Racing Virginia on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff too.
All that good stuff, and we've had some really good content. Thank you, Brandon.
Brandon. Absolutely. I'm not going to pat myself on the back.
Brandon's a genius.
Whatever.
Look, whatever you see on that site,
I did it.
Brandon.
Yep.
He did it.
I did it.
He is tuned in, man. If somebody makes a comment, well, I get the notifications too, so it's kind of fun. But yes, go follow us on all those social media platforms. For Brandon Brown, I'm Dave C. Thank you to all the guests, and thank you, the listener. And remember to keep racing, Virginia.